everyone. JLR investigates. Got a lot of people in the chat today. Continuous coverage of the Mica Miller, John Paul Miller case. I want to share some new information. A lot of going on this afternoon. The father of John Paul Miller, he talked. And I'm a little bit ticked off right now because he basically is blaming Mica. The father of Pastor John Paul Miller has put out and said she's a sick woman and is defending his son. And we're going to talk about that. But we're also going to talk about something interesting, right? And I titled this video, Pastor's Son Arrested. And this right here, folks, his name is Logan. And he is Pastor John Paul Miller's son. If you put them side by side, they look like each other, right? They look pretty similar. Well, this is it frustrates me so much because you hear the term, the apple doesn't fall from the tree. He's been arrested this year and twice, matter of fact, in December and January of this year for domestic violence. And I'm going to share some information because, again, apple doesn't fall from the tree. And the shocking details of what was going on in his household towards a female is very, very disturbing. And it's very parallel to what Mica was going through in her household with this guy. Also, folks, years ago, Pastor Reginald Wayne Miller, which is the father of him, he put out a note to the judge saying that he wanted this guy in their home together. It's just so, it really gets to me. Considering, what we have learned from this case and, what Mica was subjected to. Really, really frustrating. And I don't like anyone that does anything to females. I just don't like it. It really ticks me off. I really taken this case personally on top of the reporting because no one should be subjected to any type of DV in any household. And it's just horrifying. Let's talk about the pastor's son. This is an article that came out January 8th, 2024. 2024, at the same time Mica is getting away from her husband, this guy's doing his own things inside his home. Conway man accused of hitting woman over the head with glass bottle. A Conway man was charged with first-degree DV on Sunday, according to the Horry County Police Department. Logan Ryan Hardee was arrested in connection to a domestic incident that took place around 2:30 on Sunday. Yeah, church day. Imagine that. Church day, Sunday. Officials responded to a domestic call at Hagewood Circle in Conway and upon arrival saw a victim slumped against the wall and going in and out of consciousness, according to the police report. The victim also had a small laceration on her right hand and said that she had pain in her head and her left shoulder, according to officials. The victim said that there was an argument between herself and Hardee and that Hardee began to break items belonging to her. Hardee allegedly pushed the victim down and grabbed her cell phone as she was attempting to call for help. Hardee is accused of then hitting the woman in the back of the head with a glass bottle and fleeing the home. Yes, that's JP's son. And it happened this year. EMS was called to the scene due to the victim's condition, and she was transported to the hospital for treatment. Police said they eventually contacted Hardee through a phone call. According to the police report, Hardee agreed to turn himself over to law enforcement at the Subway restaurant at Wright Boulevard and Church Street. Hardee told the police that the victim had shredded his personal documents and that he broke the victim's computer in retaliation. Pastor John Paul Miller's son. What's your thoughts? He has multiple kids, but this is one example of another. Many of examples of mirroring. Butterfly says it. JP's son is mirroring JP. It's the same thing Mica was going through in her home. There's lots of things we still don't know yet that happened inside the home with JP and Mica. Mica goes through the divorce process, files for divorce in mid-October against JP. She leaves. And while that's going on, his own son's doing the same thing in his household or someone's household. I believe he's the youngest son of JP. Can someone elaborate on that? It doesn't say his age. But what's so wild is, like, years ago when JP was in trouble in the law for some, this is what's so wild. Years ago, he ran over a woman. That's how he got that aggravated assault charge from the late 90s. He ran over a woman. She actually sued him, too. The lawsuit got dismissed. And he got put on long-term probation for it. But his dad writes a letter to the court and also uses this son as an excuse to get leniency in the sentencing, which is even more wild. I'm going to show you this letter. I don't know if we even read this letter, but it's a letter from the dad. And in the letter, he's writing to the judge. And he's saying in this letter, and you could screenshot it, it's filed with the courts. It is with heavy heart that I see my son having to settle for joint custody when I feel that Logan needs the loving, stable Christian family that we would give him. We love Logan like our own child. And that's Logan. They're talking about the guy I just showed you. I believe that his mother also loves him, and I believe that it, the best of her ability, she has and would care for him. However, when I look at the past 2 years and I think of the future, I shudder at what kind of life Logan will have with his mother as the primary custodian. Although I have offered to homeschool Lynn and help her get a GED, she refused all efforts to gain an education beyond the 9th grade. This is why my son and we want to know that Logan will be given the best care possible. John Paul is enrolled in 2 colleges. He will be a student teaching by next fall so he can earn money to continue his studies in a secular field in the area of medicine. Which is interesting. John Paul was going to study medicine. Now, this is from 98, which I found interesting too. Wouldn't Logan be better off in a home that promotes education? Our family is active as an entire family in our church. Logan goes to church and will always be in the church as long as he is with his father. Wouldn't a child be better off brought up in a stable Christian home than drugged from place to place and never go to church? I have had to go and pick Logan up at an apartment of one man Logan was living with, and now it is a different man. We do not even know where the child is staying most of the time. Wouldn't it be better off with his father in a beautiful home we own and know that he would always be provided for financially? He almost outs himself as basically the father is the breadwinner, and all the siblings in the John Paul Miller home would be better off financially. John Paul does not drink. He never used drugs. That's a lie. And has stopped smoking. His only problem as a teenager has been his driving, which has improved. No, it hasn't improved because he has 37 court cases in the Horry County website, showing most of them are for driving infractions. So his driving has not improved. It's gotten worse. There is presently a problem with an accusation of reckless driving, but we believe that it will be resolved once the entire investigation is complete. No, it wasn't resolved, and he hit a female with a car. So I don't know where they're getting anything about that being resolved. We feel the charges will either be dropped or he will be found innocent. Yeah, right. This is the only problem he has ever caused us. John Paul works, he goes to school, he is getting an education, he is faithful and serves the church. He lives in a stable home, he has never committed a crime. and he has shown tremendous responsibility towards Logan. From the very start, he and we began to support Logan, even while in high school. As a senior, he worked to help support Lynn and Logan. Finally, I hate to see Logan continue to be used as a weapon by Lynn. Lynn, and I'm saying Lene. It looks like Lene. I said Lynn. Lene denied us the opportunity to see Logan's first Christmas because John Paul would not give her an Elmo doll. She has denied the request to give Logan both their names, Hardee Miller, because she says John Paul was with her at the hospital. Nevertheless, considering he had not seen her for 9 months and felt that she had been with others, he felt he had to have the paternity test before he could emotionally open his heart. So it looks like he was denying at first that Logan was his son. The last name of Hardee is not even Lene's real name, so I don't know if she understands that. She is denying a male a right to carry the name of his father, but he is a weapon to her, and we have seen it repeatedly. In conclusion, John Paul and we could give Logan a stable, beautiful home to live in versus being drugged from one man's home to another. A first-rate Christian private school education versus a family that has shown. A Christian home with a Christian life versus no church life with the mother. A financially secure future with his own bedroom and an identity of growing up in a nice, safe neighborhood versus not knowing where he will sleep from month to month. Logan needs the last name of his father. Lene will never understand, with her lack of education, maturity, and knowledge of psychology, just how important it will be as a male child for this boy to have the identity of the name of his father. You would think that Lene would want is best for Logan versus considering her feelings. We offered a $50,000 life insurance policy on John Paul for Logan to ensure him the funds for a college education if anything happened to John Paul, but Lene refused it unless she was the beneficiary. Why should someone who cares more for himself or herself than the child have custody? I deeply regret that this child is being robbed of so much, but I can say that to the degree that Lene and the courts will allow, we will do everything possible to see that Logan, our only grandchild, has ever, so it's probably the first it's probably John Paul's first child, only grandchild, has everything that we can give in love, care, concern, and financial resources to see that he has a healthy and happy life. Sincerely, Dr. Wayne Miller, Senior Pastor, Cathedral Baptist Church, President, Cathedral Bible College, Headmaster, Grand Strand Academy, President, Myrtle Beach Minister Association. Wow. But it gets insight of the family dynamics. Now, that was in reference to a custody issue. I said something about a legal issue. Actually, it was a custody issue that apparently Pastor John Paul was trying to get custody of Logan, and they were claiming that they would put a $50,000 life insurance policy and give him a stable Christian home. But I don't know what ended up happening with that. But the point is that this guy, and he even wanted a paternity test at the time, but it also shows the family dynamics of what goes on in the John Paul Miller home. And then again, he gets arrested and charged with the same crimes, basically, that he is being accused of his own dad right now. It's unbelievable. Now let's talk a minute. Let's talk about Pastor John Paul Miller's dad, because his dad just spoke to the Daily Mail, or his dad gave a statement, and we're talking about this guy, and that's the same guy in the letter. That's the same guy in the letter that seems like what we found out in this case is like the godfather of everything. He is the one where his solution to the problems is money and power, and everything has to go through him. And apparently he has spoken about Mica. The Daily Mail is reporting Mica Miller's father-in-law, Reginald, claims that she was prone to psychotic states and had previously tried to offer herself as he defends his pastor's son.
Reginald Wayne Miller, 75, broke his silence to defend his pastor's son, John Paul, in a lengthy statement to Daily Mail. The elder Miller, who was also a clergyman, claimed daughter-in-law Mica had suffered psychotic episodes and refused to take her meds. No, that's the problem, folks, because the problem started with her when she married John Paul, and the problem started once she married him. She was forced to get breast augmentation, and she had a medical episode, and pastor used that and flipped the script and turned it into, oh, she has mental issues, and then made her get these mental health medications, and the problems got worse from there. But before before she got involved with the marriage of him in 17, she had no mental problems. All her friends and family have said on the record that she was a normal, loving, God-fearing girl. But you see what the pastor's dad is on saying. Oh, she has psychotic states. No, it's what she was subjected to under the reigns of Pastor John Paul Miller. This is a farce, and this is just a dad that's co-signing his BS. You know, I was told that this pastor here, Reginald, I was told that Reginald and Pastor John Paul Miller were seen on a private plane the other day together. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get more info. The father of Mica Miller's pastor husband has broken his silence. He's 75. He also claims several claims about Mica's mental health and previous incidents between the couple, alleging she shot up the neighborhood 2 weeks after she married John Paul and tried to do harm before. What do you mean, shoot up the neighborhood? What's that about? What's that about? And we're talking about this guy, Reginald Wayne Miller. Mica was a very, very sick woman, he said in a statement, riddled with several grammar errors. All have been covered to protect her memory. Mica, 30, whose husband, pastor Solid Rock Church, the pastor at the Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach, was found in Lumber River State Park. That's him. That's the father. This is the one that went to prison or went to jail for forcing people to come over and work cheap labor. He's the one that got arrested for exposing himself to an undercover officer in the Myrtle Beach Police Department at the local park by the beach when he was thinking that this individual was a minor. There's a lot of allegations. So it says here her death came after she had severed John Paul, known as JP, with divorce papers. Reginald, who sometimes goes by the middle name Wayne, has a taste of fame in the 80s after launching a religious TV show from his Glory Land Bible College in Florence, South Carolina. He told Daily Mail, I have a video of Mica on a mission where she tells last year how she took a gun to do harm to herself and pull the trigger and the bullet locked in the gun. So he's claiming he has a video, but I don't know. We'll have to see. They're out there on full force trying to discredit her. It seems like when all of this is over and they see in the second weeks of marriage, she went and got a gun and was outside shooting up the neighborhood when my son ran out to stop her. She spent the first 3 weeks in a mental facility all the times since then. What has been accomplished, he asked in all capital letters. Her family refused to believe how sick she was. She was very, very sick, a sick woman. This is sick for him to even say this. Reginald denied that Miller was with another woman at the time of Mica's death, despite Robeson County Sheriff's Department releasing a timeline of his movements, which claim he was in Charleston with someone he was romantically linked to. That would be Suzie Skinner, most likely. Authorities also released a surveillance video of Mica purchasing a gun in the hours before her death. But JP's father says the footage in the call is proof that she was in a psychotic state before she ended her life. So, Reginald said, did you see the smile on her face buying the gun? Is that a distraught woman? This is coming from this guy right here. He's like, did you see a smile on her face buying a gun? Well, I don't think many people smile when they buy a gun. Matter of fact, didn't the family of Mica Miller, her dad, just speak
the other day and say that she was buying a gun because of her protection. She wanted to protect herself. And think about this. If she so-called was shooting up the neighborhood, where's the guns from back then? How come she had to go buy a gun the other day for the very first time? Where's all these other guns that this Reginald Wayne Miller, this guy that exposes himself, where's all the other guns at? Was this incident documented? If she was shooting up the neighborhood, I'm sure there would be police reports about it, wouldn't there? Wouldn't there? Oh, and it's also funny that it happens after Pastor Miller, forced her to get breast augmentation. Something's not right here. It seems like it's a power trip between these evil, I was going to call them warlords. Evil warlords. Jim Joneses, cult-like figures that are trying to spell up people. I'm going to show you this video, by the way. I got a video of the Solid Rock Church, and they're all like doing weird stuff with the pastor. You got to see this video. But let's finish this.
Let's finish this report. I just chime in every time we read because it just frustrates me that, he's doing this and blaming her. He's blaming her and defending his son. Did you ever see any crying or upset in her voice in the 911 call? No, because she was in one of her psychotic states. And he blamed her family. He blamed her family for refusing to allow her to get proper treatment. Are you kidding me? So the pastor blames Mica's family. What? Are you kidding me? If her family would have left her the last time her doctor put her in a mental facility for a maximum of 3 weeks and had not checked her out and convinced her she did not need drugs, I believe she would be alive today, happy, singing in church. Whoa. He's blaming Mica's family. John Paul is accused in court documents of grooming Mica for the years since 14 years old, committing her to a hospital so he could steal her car, and cheating on his first wife, Allison, with underage churchgoers. He has not been charged in relation to her death. So, what's up with this dude here?
Blaming Mica's family? I don't think so. What about all the...
does he accept responsibility for forcing all these people to come over from overseas over to work at his church in his home and not paying them and forcing them into deplorable conditions? What about him exposing himself? What about these church fires? What about these suspicious church fires in Florence at the 2 churches in Florence that happened 1980 and 1999 that he ran? What about these fires? Does he accept any responsibility for that? Or is it just deflection? Is it just blaming? This is going to get into a really, really deep saga, folks. It's going to get really in it. Let me show you something. I want to show you this video. Oh, by the way, this thing was up, right? This was up. Some people were saying this was Pastor John Paul Miller had a TikTok account up. It is no longer up, but I don't know if you guys are aware of it. But as soon as after what happened to Mica, this account here at jp.miller28 went up. And they were posting a lot of personal pictures of Mica. And it could have been him or someone affiliated with him. But it is no longer up. It is down. So I just wanted to share that information too. I don't know if you guys ever got to see this account. But it was up there temporarily. But now it seems like it has gone. Just like the church website that keeps going back on and back off and back off and back online. And that church website seems like it's down again. But let me show you something right here because I got this clip. Oh, by the way, well, let's just show this first because this is very bizarre. This is bizarre to me. And I want to share this. This is how the church feels about their Messiah, their cult leader, Pastor John. This was like Pastor Appreciation Day or something. But this is pretty bizarre. Check this out right here. Check this out right here. We're going to play this.
A little bit different this morning. I'm going to ask Pastor JP to come down here with me real quick. You can jump off this little. Okay. All right. Everybody knows this is a Pastor Appreciation Month, but he already knows we appreciate him. So we're going to do something a little different. If everybody remembers in your Bible, when Moses was on the hill, he needed others to help lift his arms because they got tired. So right now, we're all going to lift his arms up. And if everybody could lift your arms in support of our pastor. Like Moses, God had appointed his leadership, and more specifically, Pastor JP. Like Moses, Pastor JP cannot and is not expected by God to do this work himself. Like Moses, Pastor JP needs others who will hold his arms high, that they may be steadied and that he may be able to lead as God would have him do. God's leaders always need others to support them. Hebrews 13:17. Obey them that have the rule over you and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls as they that must give an account. God said, I will give you shepherds according to my heart, who will feed you with knowledge and understanding. Let us pray. Father God, remind us to always continue to lift the arms of Pastor JP up, that when his arms grow weak, that you continue to give him strength. Father God, we ask that you fill him with your word, that so he may continue to teach it to us. Continue to use him as your vessel.
Now, let me just say this. I mean, what does this look like to you? I see a lot of people say cult, brainwashing, narcissism. What is this about? I mean, they're saying it's Pastor Appreciation Month, but to do this and to hold his arm out up like he's the Messiah, it's very disturbing. I've never seen this done in any church. I've never seen this done where they do this and lift the pastors. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people talk about her. This is like Pastor John Paul Miller's right-hand person that's been to the church the longest. Her name has been mentioned a lot, and people are speculating that the feds have already reached out to her or investigating her. We'll see what happens with that. But look at this. I mean, this is just this. I don't know. He shouldn't be leading anything, considering that, you know, he is. Mica got away. Everything we know about him, everything we know about his family, his own dad, now his son, him owning a bar while he's a pastor. FBI's investigating him, and you know he also threatened to, or actually did. He put Mica's pictures, intimate pictures of Mica on Facebook. That a police report was filed, and he actually said it out of his own mouth. What in the world is going on at this church? And I mean, it's, I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. So describe what you feel about this picture in one word. What would you say if you saw this picture? This is Pastor John Paul Miller. So I'll read those comments, but
It's scary, folks. It's scary. It's scary. It's very scary, you know. And then also, you know, keep in mind that First Academy that's next door to the church. This guy, Dr. Reginald Wayne Miller, he is teaching there. And he's like, he basically still has his, he's around children. He's around children. So I'd be very cautious. And, you know, people got to basically, if I were them, would just, I don't know, I would leave. That's my opinion. You know, this guy seems like he has his fingerprints on a lot of things when it comes to this tragedy too. Not just with Pastor John Paul Miller, but him running the show and him, things are going through. You see him, he's adamantly defending his son from this. I just want to show you something else, folks. JLR Investigates. We are here. We're gathering insight. We're trying to get the family dynamics of this. This is for educational purposes only. We are reporting on the tragedy of Mica Miller. But going back to the son, he actually got arrested. Believe it or not, he actually got arrested twice for the same charge. Twice. One on 12/5/2023. Or it happened maybe 11/1/2023. Same charge. This is Logan Ryan Hardee. Same charge, right?
And then he has the one right here, which is a new arrest in 1/12/2024, right? Same charge. So he actually got arrested. His son got arrested twice, folks, for DV in the first degree. And that's this guy right here, who we've been talking about. So it is a wild case. I think the other one is, I think they're both pending. Because I didn't, even the first one that happened, I didn't see a resolution on that. I wanted to see what he had. But he gets in trouble, I guess, in November for doing something to someone. And then I don't know what the outcome of that again, what the outcome of that was. And then he gets arrested again. So let me know what you think. JLR Investigates. We are on this, and we're trying to understand who these people are. This is considered justice for Mica, for sure, because, it paints a picture of the whole Miller family dynamics. And it seems like it is a cult-like dynasty that has been embroiled in controversy and scandals going back at least 30 years. And it's still continuing to go on to this day. What's going to happen at this point? Will the feds go in and shut it all down? And that's definitely a possibility too. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We got our eyes on the prize. We are investigating this case as far as afar and looking back and putting the pieces together. People continue to come forward and give tips. If you have any tips or information you want to share with me to bring light to the situation, you can reach me at JLR or tips at JLR Investigates. Usually I was giving my own personal email before. Tips at JLR Investigate. Love to hear from you. Love your courage out there. You can remain anonymous. You can talk on the record, whatever. We want to know more. We want to know more, and a lot of people care. Case in point, we got 2,500 people in the chat right now. So let me know what you think in this particular segment. Pastor's son has been arrested just recently for the same behaviors that John Paul Miller was doing. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll talk soon. Justice for Mica. Next time I'm coming on, I got a purple shirt. Remember I was up there with the protesters that gave me a shirt? I'm going to wear that next time when we talk. I'm going to wear that next time. Anything else comes out about this case, I'll share it with you. What do you think about the pastor's father? What do you think about this whole situation? Love to read your comments. I see a lot of people care. I see a lot of purple hearts too. Have a great day, everyone. Be safe. Until next time, we cover true crime 24/7, 365. Batcave, JLR Batcave, JLR Investigates. Have a good day. Be safe.